Hi guys, it's Caroline, and today I'm going to be doing a really random video that I just had the idea for, and it's basically going to be Hot or Not Classics Edition. So what I mean by that is I have this poster that I got for my birthday, which basically has 100 books you should read in your lifetime. I don't know, someone made this list, it's kind of arbitrary, but I went through and I scratched off all the books that I've already read, but basically I'm just gonna go through all the ones on this list that I've read, and I'll tell you if they're hot or not. Basically, I'm gonna say, did I like it? Did I not like it? Is it a good classic? Is it not a good classic? And you know, some of these might be controversial, so let's get into it. The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho, I maybe pronounced that wrong. I hated that book. Not. It's super didactic, seems kind of sexist, and it's boring, and it's a weird length. The Life of Pi, hot. Love that book. It's good. The Fault in Our Stars, that's lukewarm. It was hot when I read it when I was like 13. I even have a quote on my, painted on my wall from it. But reading it now, I'm sure it would be like super problematic. I think that Ciclet, YA Ciclet has really not aged well. To Kill a Mockingbird, also lukewarm. I think it has its problems. Harper Lee is problematic, but I think it did some interesting things for me as a kid and learning about it. Moby Dick, not. I found it super boring, and maybe I would have liked it if I learned about it in class, but whatever. The Catcher in the Rye, not. I don't know. I'm not even gonna go into it. The Great Gatsby, completely lukewarm. I don't know why people love it. I don't know. It's fine. The Handmaid's Tale, lukewarm. I don't really like Margaret Atwood as a person or a writer. However, I do appreciate The Handmaid's Tale place in literature. It was a dystopian before dystopians really were that prominent, and it was a dystopian focusing on women and women's rights. And I appreciate the Harvard content, but otherwise I think it's kind of bland. The Hunger Games, hot. I reread that last year, and honestly, it still smacks. Harry Potter, hot, but we don't talk about the author. She's the Worst. Books still hold a great place in my heart. And Then There Were None, hot. Agatha Christie, slaps. Charlotte's Web, not. Sad. Why do I need that? Pride and Prejudice, hot. Jane Austen is a baller. The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, not. Those are also weirdly sexist. Alice in Wonderland, lukewarm. It gets too weird, and Lewis Carroll was really weird, and his questionable pedophilia. I don't know. Alice in Wonderland makes me uncomfortable, not gonna lie, but it's also kind of fun. I don't know. A Christmas Carol, hot. Charles Dickens, slaps. The Road by Cormac McCarthy, also hot, although beware, it'll just rock your socks. It pulls no punches. The Giver, not. I know people have childhood nostalgia for this. I read this about 2 years ago, and I found it weird and underdone. I don't know. I just thought that it was an interesting premise, done not very well. Anne of Green Gables, hot. Love Anne of Green Gables. She just brings me joy. The Northern Lights, which is the first book in the Golden Compass, lukewarm. I remember when I read these with my dad as a kid, we loved the first one, and then we just thought the final two books were really, really bad. I'd like to reread them at some point, but who's got time for rereading these days? So who knows? The Book Thief, hot. Although my dad hates that book. He read it and he hates it, and I haven't read it in almost a decade probably, and I recently read Bridge of Clay, which is by that author, and it was so bad. It's literally one of the worst books I've read in recent memory. So now I'm a little worried to ever reread The Book Thief, so that's controversial. Next up, we have Midnight's Children by Salman Rushdie. Hot. Love that book. The Lord of the Rings, lukewarm. I think it's really, really boring. I understand why it's this long strung out thing, but just because he was doing something doesn't mean I have to like it. Fahrenheit 451, hot. How can, no pun intended. Lord of the Flies, not. I get it. Boys are chaotic. Whatever. Adventures of Tom Sawyer, lukewarm? It's kind of racist. I don't know. Maybe not. I haven't read it recently enough to really have full thoughts. Oliver Twist, not. I love Charles Dickens, but Oliver Twist really misses the mark. The Color Purple, hot. That book really is really poignant, really touching. Little Women, hot. I mean, I like it. The book's fine, but honestly, that movie, the Greta Gerwig movie just really takes it to a new level, which, sorry. Romeo and Juliet, not. I think that's one of the more bland Shakespeare plays. Sorry about it. Hamlet, hot. I like Hamlet. Wuthering Heights. It's been a while, but hot. I like Victorian literature. I remember liking it when I read it. 1984. Listen, hot in the sense that it's a good book, not in the sense that every conservative and their mother calling things Orwellian because Trump is banned from Twitter. Now, I don't know why everyone decides whenever something on the internet doesn't go their way and like a corporation does something, they want to call it Orwellian. That's gotta stop. Get his name out your mouth. He was like a socialist. The Poisonwood Bible, hot. Love that book. Barbara Kingsolver, snapped. The Brothers Karamazov, not. I hated that book. The main character, all he did was whine about whether or not he believed in God, and honestly, like, I don't care. Like, figure it out, man, but I don't need to be here for 400 pages while you decide this. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, lukewarm. I don't remember it very well, like, as a reading experience. The movies are good. The Help, not. You know, we've learned, we've grown, we realize how that book is problematic, particularly considering a white woman wrote it. Great Expectations, so hot. I love Great Expectations. I've read it twice now. I love Charles Dickens. I think this is one of the greatest. I honestly want to reread it, like, really soon because I love it. Beloved, oh my god, another all-time favorite. Toni Morrison is a queen. Everyone should read Beloved. Everyone should read Paradise. Animal Farm, hot. It was good. David Copperfield, hot. Again, love Charles Dickens. Emma by Jane Austen, hot. Love Jane Austen. Chronicles of Narnia, not. Narnia is just a giant metaphor for religion, and even as a kid, I saw right through it, and I was like, I don't need to be preached at right now. Lolita, lukewarm. It's a great piece of literature. It's super uncomfy, but I don't know. A lot of people in their anti-TBR tags have been saying, I'll never read Lolita because the subject matter makes me uncomfortable, and there are also other people who feel really strongly that everyone should read Lolita and they should be able to separate, like, good art from the context. I don't actually have a strong opinion on Lolita, besides the fact that it is really wonderfully written, and it also makes me super uncomfortable. Yeah, so I've got no dog in that fight. Rebecca, hot, so good. The movie, not so hot. I don't like Armie Hammer. Jane Eyre, lukewarm. I'm not a huge Jane Eyre fan. I've had to read it too many times, and I think it's kind of boring for Victorian literature. Sorry, not sorry. Brave New World, hot. I think that's interesting. I want to watch the adaptation. Has anyone watched that adaptation? Let me know. Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. Not. I hated that book. As a kid, I was reading it, and I was like, why are these girls so hype on getting their periods? I don't want this thing. This seems awful. And then the dialogue was really weird. I understand that it was probably helpful back in the day when, like, people didn't talk about this stuff, but I knew what a period was, and I was fearful. And so this book where all the girls were, like, crying because they didn't get one, I was like, girl, you crazy. Anyway, Game of Thrones, hot. There, I said it, but you know what? I'm suspicious George R.R. Martin is going to die before he writes the final 2 books. I said it. I put it out into the world. I'm real nervous. I hope he doesn't, but man needs to write those books. The Hobbit, not. Same thing with Lord of the Rings, except for I don't like The Hobbit even more than The Lord of the Rings. I think it's extra boring. The Sun Also Rises, medium. I think Ernest Hemingway is kind of boring. 100 Years of Solitude, not. I thought that book was just painful to read, and like I understand what he was doing, but that doesn't mean I have to like it. I found it like really, really just boring and confusing, and even when I was like, yeah, I know why you're being confusing, I still hated it. Also, everyone is named the same thing on purpose, and I hate that. Like, I know you think it's cute, but don't name everyone the same thing. Adventures of Huck Finn, questionable, just like Tom Sawyer. Anna Karenina, hot. Love Anna Karenina. And also, honestly, Anna Kay, the current, like, basically it's like a Gossip Girl retelling of Anna Karenina. Read that. It's so good. One of the best retellings. Catch-22, lukewarm. I remember kind of liking it, but also it being a little bit of a drag. Slaughterhouse-5, hot. The Bell Jar, not. I found it racist and problematic, and I know it's like, oh, mental health, and like it's about publishing, which is where I want to work, but I found the main character insufferable. I didn't think it was that poignant, and it was racist. So those are the 56 or 57 books on that list that I have read. Let me know down below what your controversial takes on classics are, or if you agree or disagree with any of my hot takes on these classics. All right, that's all for today. Bye!